Yo, who up with the God, Joe? Man, I was looking at some stuff. Um, One of my peoples, they sent me some stuff. You know, this guy, he had, I guess he confronted a guy that had on a MAGA shirt, and he was, asking the guy some questions. Basically, why would he vote for Donald Trump? No. Yeah, basically, why would he, a black man, vote for Donald Trump, right? And the young guy was saying that he's voting for him is because of his dislike towards Kamala Harris. So what I took out of that was that he was exercising his right to vote as a human being, right? Because you can change your stance. Like if you don't like a candidate, right, you can change your stance and say, well, I don't want to vote for that person. So a lot of people do this. They will vote for another candidate just because they may not like the person who they voting for, right? So the guy, he goes on to tell the young guy, because what he was trying to do was he was trying to shame him into voting for who he wanted to vote for. And I think the young guy, he did a terrible job in terms of defending his right to choose who he wanted to vote for. So the black guy that was videotaping him was saying, so just because you don't like Kamala Harris, you gonna vote for white supremacy, and he started bringing up the KKK and all this stuff. Man, I'm so sick and tired of hearing this bullshit. It don't make no sense. It's because, let's be real. We understand that white supremacy exists, right? But these be the same people. If black people started to say that they don't want to integrate no more with white folks, or start talking about racism in the country, these same black people that accuse you of helping white supremacy, they will be the same one that will call you a racist because you're quote-unquote fighting against quote-unquote the system. They'll be the first one to call you a racist. And I have seen that countless of times with black people that talk like this, right? And secondly, white supremacy, if you really pay attention to it, is very simple. White supremacy is, quote unquote, Europeans dominating over black folks, dark-skinned people. That's what white supremacy is. But see, you gotta kind of bring it to another level. It's because the European is ruling, right? But now you gotta call these people globalists, right? It's because they all over the place now. And see, what's wrong with this picture, right? He's trying to shame the young guy because he doesn't want to vote for Kamala Harris. So he's saying just because you don't want to vote for Kamala Harris, that you're supporting white supremacy. First of all, Kamala Harris is supporting white supremacy. It's because who controls the country? It's quote unquote white people. So Barack Obama, Kamala Harris, and a lot of those people that was at the Democratic National Convention, they're all white supremacists. It's because they will even tell you, we're not trying to be the president of the United States to handle just black affairs, which when you look at our neighborhoods is crushed because of quote unquote white supremacy. So my thing is, you got a lot of these yo-yos, these Negroes, these darkies. They always, see, they trying to promote an agenda that you're supposed to vote for people just because of the color of their skin. And that right there is a definite no-no. It's because you should not vote for a person because of the color of their skin. You're supposed to vote for a person that is able to do a job. It's just like you go on a job because she's on a job interview. She's interviewing for the presidency of the United States of America. That is that's the top job of the country. So if you go on a job interview, they're not going to hire you because you look good or you talk well. They want to hire you based upon your skills. Now, the one thing that I would ask this guy, right? So, you want me to vote for Kamala Harris. What has Kamala Harris done for the so-called black community? She has done nothing for the so-called black community. Now, another thing, the only thing that she has done, just like all the rest of these guys, whether they black, white, purple, or orange, the only thing that they do for quote-unquote the black community, they give us crumbs. That's it. You know, when you have a baby that's crying, right? They used to put sugar in the nipple, right? Back in the day, they used to call it a sugar tip, right? But now, they just give a kid a nipple or a pacifier. So the pacifier that the black community has, that we always ranting and raving over, is health care, right? better jobs in the community, right? Talking about stuff that we don't even know what's going on. We're going to stop these big countries, these big companies from not paying their taxes. This is a sugar tip. And we fall for it every time. Weekend at Bernie's, Bernie Sanders got up there still talking about how he's going to stop the big time companies from tax breaks, lying through his teeth. The big companies that got tax breaks, they're the ones that's making sure people in the country is eating. So how's Bernie Sanders gonna stop these people stop them from paying taxes? How is he gonna start them to pay their fair share of taxes if they're some of the major people that's putting all these businesses in the community? He's not gonna do it. He talk about how he's gonna go after these big old oil companies and things of this. He's not gonna do that. So what is this that he's doing? He's giving the people a sugar tip. It's because the more that they suck on that nonsense, they're gonna continue to be pacified. Now, we was looking at the DNC, right? And they was sitting around, they playing all this soul music. Kamala Harris pandering towards the so-called black community. Playing all this soul music. Using entertainers to try to persuade black people to vote for her. But I think it was 4 or 5 guys. They settled out a court for a lawsuit when she was a prosecutor or something like that. She put these guys in prison for crimes that they didn't even commit. And they had to settle out of court. I think the highest person that settled out of court was almost $14 million. And he gave a description on when they was giving him the sentence. They gave him life in prison or something like that. He said that Kamala Harris was there when he was getting his sentence, and she had a smirk on her face, like she was glad that he was going to prison. And some people probably deserve to be in jail, but they say that you're innocent before proven guilty for a reason. Now, she's supposed to be a prosecutor fighting on the behalf of the riffraff that's going on in the community, but here it is, you're sending people, not just one person, you're sending multiple people to prison for crimes that they didn't even commit. And then you turn around, you gotta pay out of court because you blundered the whole thing, right? But let's look at the so-called black neighborhood. She was the vice president it's finna be 4 years. She's been the vice president for 4 years, right? What did she say when Joe Biden sicked his Democratic team on the masses and they was running around telling people that if you don't take the COVID vaccine, that you're going to lose your job? Because you had some people that wanted to take it because they were scared people was dying, and you had some people that didn't want to take it because they were scared because, you know, for one, they said that the vaccine was made too quick, and then you had other doctors, they was going against Fauci because they didn't respect him or his team expertise on making the vaccine. So you had a lot of doctors that was saying, telling the people, don't take the vaccine because the vaccine is basically no good. So you had a lot of people, they took the vaccine anyway because out of fear. I understand that. They have a right to choose if they want to take the vaccine. It doesn't mean you stupid if you taking the vaccine. It just means that, look, people, they gonna do what they want to do. And they did that. A lot of people took the vaccine, and, you know, now they're saying that a lot of people is having side effects from taking the vaccine. And you had a lot of people, they didn't even want to do the situation in the first place. What was she doing about that? It was a big uproar. You had the truckers, they was protesting because they didn't want to take the vaccine. And then you had the Democratic masses, the media, people like Don Lemon. Don Lemon got his stupid self on national TV. Him and that Mexican woman from The View, they said that if you don't take the vaccine, you should not be allowed to move around in society. This is what they said on national TV. What did Kamala Harris say about that? Says he want to talk about white supremacy. Where was this nigga at when these people was saying this stuff about the people that didn't want to take the COVID vaccine? Where was he at then? People got to go to work. They didn't want to take the COVID vaccine for whatever reason. I thought in the medical field, if you go to the doctor, and the doctor, if you got insurance, even if you don't have insurance, you have a right as a human being to go to any doctor you want to that will accept you to determine if you want to mess with these people or not. But here it is. You had Donald Trump, right? And all this stuff is political. But Donald Trump was saying, look, you don't have to take the medicine from Dr. Fauci if you don't want to. We have a team of people that's trying to deal with the COVID stuff. We have medicine over here too. So what is he doing? He's giving you an option to make a decision on what medicine you want to take. But that type of shit, that just fly over people's head. And we so hung up on Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci was one of the doctors when AIDS and stuff first came out. You know what they was doing to a lot of the AIDS patients that was catching HIV and AIDS? They was giving them AZT. They was giving them AZT, and the AZT was not working for these people. This is under Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci was one of the head doctors, or the head doctors that was dealing with the AIDS crisis in the 80s. They was giving the people AZT. AZT was a medicine that was given to cancer patients. They took it off the market because the people was not getting well off of AZT. So next thing you know, they bring it back to the market and try to give it to the people, and it was tearing people's liver and their kidneys up. So this man has a history of blundering when it comes to medicine. So why would you try to make this guy, his team, the only people that you had to go to in order to get some type of vaccine for the COVID disease that was going around? So they had a big back and forth. Why ain't nobody talking about this? Joe Biden been in office. It's finna be 4 years he's been in office, right? Barack Obama been in office for 8 years. They have never addressed the situation with the black community. Never. And what is this? What is the stuff that we need to address in the black community? We need to address the control over the businesses in our community. This is why you have crime in the neighborhood. Is because there's no jobs really for the young youth. They haven't addressed that stuff yet. Who controls the black community from an economical standpoint of view? The Chinese, the white people, and the Arabs. And now you got Mexicans coming in the neighborhood. So this guy sitting up here talking about white supremacy, but these same niggas that say that, they don't even control their fucking neighborhood. We worried about the Proud Boys and all the rest of these people. Who cares about them? We need to be worried about the stuff that's in our own neighborhood. You know what's going on? We have gang violence in the neighborhood. Where's this fool at? And then they always come up with this fucking narrative about a candidate that you want to vote for. First of all, let's get something straight. Donald Trump is only demonized as a racist because he didn't run on the Democratic ticket. That's the only reason. Because in the 80s and the 90s and certain parts of the 2000s, These same black people that hate him so much was the same black people that was taking pictures with him, exchanging money with this guy. People like Al Sharpton, Michael Jackson. He rubbing shoulders with Mike Tyson, all the rest of these stars. Puffy, everybody. The reason why black people don't like this man is because he ran on the Democratic ticket. Now let's go back to the 80s of the Central Park 5 case, right? The Central Park 5 case, where you had, I think, 5 guys that got wrongly convicted for raping a jogger that was jogging in the park around 5 or 4, something like that in the morning, which she should have never had her butt out there in the first place, is because why are you jogging 4 o'clock in the morning and you're a female? That don't even make any sense to me, right? But irregardless, she had no, should nobody been killing that woman in the first place. But, so, you had, in the 80s, you had a woman that was, it was a tragedy. She got killed jogging. And they convicted 5 young men of raping and murdering this woman. And Donald Trump was one of the leading people that was saying, crucify them young boys. This was in the 80s, right? Crucify them young boys, because they raped this woman. I think she was a college student, and killed her. Found out 20-some years later, it wasn't even them. It was a Mexican guy that confided into he confided into this drug dealer and told him that he was actually the one that killed that woman. So the drug dealer ended up going to go tell some people that he knew that those boys was innocent, and that he had the right, he had the guy confessed to him, and because he was his cellie, he confessed to him that, he killed that woman. But let's go back to this. This is in the 80s, right? Donald Trump, I believe that he was a Democrat. He got criticized for that. But these same black folks still was supporting him. They still taking pictures. They still doing certain things with this guy. So what the fuck is we talking about white supremacy for? Here it is, Donald Trump, because they tried to bring that shit, they tried to say that, well, it happened. He had a lawsuit because he didn't want to give certain black people access to some of the buildings that he controlled in New York City. But, and that's true history, right? But you still had black entertainers, well-to-do black people, Whoopi Goldberg, all these people, they still taking pictures with this man, doing business with this man behind the scenes. Now all of a sudden, he becomes the president of the United States, or he runs for the presidency. This is when he ran for the presidency, before he even became the president. Now he's a racist. Now his daddy is a racist. Well, hell, if y'all just saying that he's a racist now, then was he a racist when he was on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Was he a racist when he used to come to all these black events with these black folks? He sitting up here taking all these pictures. He hugging and kissing everybody, black people. Was he a racist then? Look how hypocritical these people are. Look how hypocritical these people are. He's a racist because he ran on the Republican ticket. That's why he's a racist now. But he was not a racist when he got on national TV and he said, basically, crucify them young boys to Central Park 5. And they didn't have a lot of evidence or nothing like that to convict those boys. And they still did it because somebody had to go down for that shit. He wasn't a big racist then when he was denying black people access to some of his buildings that he had in the neighborhood. If he was a racist, then if he's a part of the KKK, right? Like they say he is, like the guy said he was trying to shame the young guy because the young guy wanted to vote for him because he didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris, right? So if he's so much of a KKK member, right, why is it that he's on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Why is it that he's running around saying that he contributed to certain ventures that Michael Jackson was having? So you mean to tell me that these same black people that's calling him a racist now, they didn't know he was a racist then? Look how hypocritical these people are. They're only saying that he's a racist because he's on the Republican ticket. That's the only reason. If Donald Trump ran for the presidency on the Democratic ticket, we wouldn't have heard of none of this shit. We wouldn't have heard of none of this. And you know, black people, to be so phenomenal as we are, we so fucking stupid. You should not vote for a person because of the color of their skin. You should vote for a person because if they can do the job or not. That's what you... And look, if you are a Democrat or a Republican, which I don't give a shit about either one of them, but you have a right in this country to vote for who the fuck you want to vote for. It's because they doing it all the time. These people that they're voting for 4 and 8 and 10 and 20 years, they don't do shit for the black community. So if this guy is stupid for voting for Donald Trump, then what are we going to say about the Democrats that's voting for these same idiots that's in office? Joe Biden, it's going to be 4 years, 2025, right? He funneled billions of dollars over there at the they trying to take over they fighting a war over there in Ukraine. They done gave out 40 and 50 and 60 billion dollars, y'all. But when the black man asked for reparations for the mistreatment and the slavery that we have faced in this country, you don't have a dime for us. They can't come up with one dime for the black community, but here it is. They funnel billions of dollars to fucking Ukraine. But they can't give black people reparations. And you idiots is going to sit up here and keep voting for these people. I don't care if you're voting for Democrat or Republican. They're sending billions of dollars to the Jews that's over there in Israel. They can't give you no money. Barack Obama, I never forget this. Barack Obama gave 3 Jewish women $27 million for the Holocaust. Ain't nobody saying boo about that. But every time the discussion comes up about reparations for our people, we never got that. And that's really talking about both parties. Black people, we so disenfranchised with each other. You got, this how stupid we is. You got black folks that's Democrats. You got black folks that's Republican. We don't have enough sense to come together, get up under one candidate, if that's what we gonna do, and start to fight or discuss the major issues or the things that we need in our communities. We need to control our educational system. You got all these weirdos coming in there teaching your kids about customs and traditions that is really contrary on how we was raised as children. You niggas don't have nothing to say about that. We need to control our economics. We are forced to buy from these different businesses that's in our neighborhoods. Why do you say that? It's because when you go downtown or wherever you work at, now you don't get a paycheck. They automatically send it to your bank account. When you step outside of your neighborhood, who's running the gas stations? It's Arabs. Who's running the other businesses in the neighborhood? It's other nations. They take all the money. You know, they say black people the Jews call us liquid money, because the money come in our hand, and then the next thing you know, it turns to water, and it just falls on the floor. They say that the Chinese and the Jews are the most people that keep the money in their neighborhood for like weeks of a time. Why is that? It's because all the businesses is ran by them. The Chinese run their own businesses in their neighborhood. The Jews run everything in their neighborhood, and the Chinese. We don't control nothing. So they take all the money out of the neighborhood, and we don't have anything. So Kamala Harris, all these black entertainers, they got a DJ, they playing all the black songs. Black people is not questioning her on nothing. They not, you know why? It's because we don't know what we want. We satisfied with the fact that when we go to the gas station, we got people serving us that don't even look like us. They take that money, they don't put shit in the community, and then we don't have anything. I remember the candy stores used to be ran by black people. Now we got Arabs running the candy stores now. But all I saw at the DNC, it was a clown show. It was a clown show full of clowns with makeup and rubber noses on. That's all it was. They talking about what this woman is going to do, and she ain't going to do nothing because she's a white supremacist herself. So what the fuck is he talking about? White supremacy. You got black people that's white supremacists. They believe in helping Europeans continue to put their foot on everybody else's neck, including their own people. So what are we saying? But see, this is how stupid we is, though. The true concept of voting is that you have a candidate. I don't care who he is, right? If you just want to vote a black person in, that's fine. That's fine too. But we don't have enough sense to control the candidates. I've been saying this for the past couple of years. Every time these people, when they start to run for presidency, no, not the presidency, when they run for the mayor's office, senator, and the presidency just as well, they have what you call donors. They have people that funnel. When Kamala Harris, when she decided to run for president, they funnel a lot of money into her campaign. But where's this money coming from? The money is coming from well-to-do, rich black people and well-to-do, rich white folks. It's because this is how they're going to control her. Whatever policies or whatever they want her to put out there, she's going to do it. It's because, why? It's because she got 30, 40, 50 billion dollars running up behind her. The same thing with Donald Trump. But You black folks, we spend all our money on nonsense, gym shoes, going to the club, shitting on other people, right? We don't even have enough sense to pull our money together and put behind these different candidates to do what it is that we want to do. We don't even have community community meetings to talk about some of the things that we want. But let me tell you something. The well-to-do black people do, and the well-to-do white folks, they have meetings. And they're all in one consent on what they're doing. But the masses of black folks in the community, they don't give a shit about nothing. All they care about is a sugar tip. That's all they care about. So, I went a little bit long than what I wanted to go. I'm just saying, Kamala Harris, black people need to put her on the hot seat. If this is who you're going to vote for to represent you in the presidency, you need to put her on the hot seat. Ask her certain questions on what she's going to do for our community. And if she's not going to do this, you need to be smart enough to take all this white supremacy bullshit out the scenario, and you need to go to the next best thing that's going to help you to catapult you to the next level on what you're doing. Because you need to stop being Democrats and Republicans, and you need to start voting for your best interests. That's what you need to do. But, like I say, most of you that sit back here and talk about politics, you don't know shit about politics. And all you do is sit around here and brainwash your generation, my generation, and the generation to come with this bullshit that y'all talking about. White supremacy, Donald Trump is he's no more of a white supremacist than Joe Biden is. And you still voted for him. He told the black community that if you didn't vote for me, that you ain't black. And ain't no black people pulled his coattail about that and put his white ass on the hot seat. Ain't nobody saying shit about that. So this is what I'm saying. If you don't start strategizing, see, this is what we do. I'm going to be a couple of more minutes. We worried about the motherfucking reunion. The project reunion, high school reunion. But we not serious about real issues that's going on in the community. This is a major issue with this woman becoming president. You know why? It's because the people that's putting money behind her, they're going to tell her what to do, and she's going to fucking do it. Because they're putting billions of dollars behind her. I don't care if Donald Trump is in office. He has billions of dollars that's running. He has an oil machine that's running behind him. You don't have enough sense to try to fight people by putting your money behind these different candidates. You know the first thing a black person would say? Well, if we give him all the money, who gonna control the money? You don't even know who control the money when they take the money out of your taxes. What are you talking about? That's what I'm saying. And look at us. We disenfranchised with each other. We got black people grabbing other black people because they're exercising their right to vote as human beings, to try to shame them because they voted for Donald Trump. When before he became the president, we ain't hear shit about no racism or nothing like that from Donald Trump. Black people was kissing that man in the mouth. All these entertainers, now all of a sudden, when he run on the Republican ticket, now he's a racist. This is how hypocritical these black demons is. When he made those derogatory statements about those young guys in the Central Park 5 in the 80s, ain't nobody called him a racist. Well, they probably did call him a racist, but the same black people that probably was talking shit, they still was doing business with. He was on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with all those black people. Ain't nobody called him a racist then. That's what I'm saying. Y'all mad at the man because he ran on the Republican ticket. That's the only reason why you call him a racist. He's a white supremacist. He's in bed with the KKK, right? If that's the case, then why were you saying that shit when he was a Democrat? Why all of a sudden we hear stuff about his daddy? His daddy was a racist. But we didn't hear that shit when he was running on a Democratic ticket, though. That's what I'm telling these masses of black folks. You got to stop listening to these folks. Because a lot of these entertainers, these media people, they ain't nothing but devils, see? They have an agenda. They want Kamala Harris in office, and they're going to do anything to try to discredit this man in the media. And the same thing for the Republicans. The Republicans want Donald Trump in office. They gonna discredit whomever. But I thought that the whole common goal was to do something for the country. Well, just look at this. When we look at the debates and stuff like that, they're not talking about major issues. All they doing is slanging jelly at each other. Everything is personal. But we got major issues in the country. America is losing her grip with the other nations around the world. We got inflation. They're not even really talking about this stuff, right? Now they talking about it's a new influx of the monkeypox and all this type. We're not talking about major issues. The Democrats is still, the black Democrats is some of the most, the elites of the black Democrats are some of the most hypocritical ass Negroes that I ever seen in my life. They run a whole fucking campaign off of racism. But here it is, they're still supporting white supremacy. You gotta make that make sense to me. Your whole campaign is off of some shit that happened in the 1960s, but here it is, you're still supporting the same people that support white supremacy. Joe Biden is a white supremacist. Barack Obama, they're white supremacists. It's because they believe in the ideology of Europeans. Under the Barack Obama administration, they said that he used more bombs than any president. What are we talking about here? All I'm saying is, look, we got to start putting our thinking caps on. These people that you're voting for don't have your best interests at hand. They don't have your best interests at hand. Your vote is a vote for them to become globalists and to run around and cause a lot of mischief amongst other nations and on the American soil. So with that being said, peace, shalom.